Greg Doucette,
Greg Doucette turned me pro. Yeah.
no way.
Yeah. Greg Doucette turned me pro, actually.
Does he have any idea what he's doing?
Coach Greg in today's video, the world's most famous coach, best coach in the world, Hany Rambod, calls me out. In case you've never heard of this guy, he's got close to 1 million followers and he coaches none other than Chris Bumstead, Derek Lunsford, both Mr. Olympia champions, and so he certainly knows a thing or two about coaching. But does he think that Coach Greg knows a thing or two about coaching? Well, in a podcast featuring Ian Valere, I was called out. Bit of a low blow asking, does Greg Doucette know what he's doing? By Hany obviously knows what he's doing as a former IFBB pro and coach to former pros. Hany definitely knew Ian used to work with Greg and seemed to just want to take a cheap shot at someone who is more successful online than him in the online world. A bit of jealousy creeping out from Hany. I don't believe Hany's jealous at all. Why would he be jealous? And although he has fewer followers than me, that is not a measure of success. I'm certain Hany Rambod does not care about my success, lack of success, or anything. However, it is kind of a cheap shot, but I don't mind this. The fact that he's asking if I knew about coaching, the fact that he knew who I was, to me, that's a compliment. And so I don't see these interactions as negative. Many of you are probably thinking, oh, Coach Greg's going to be offended. He's so upset. I am not. I am honored that Hany Rambod knows who I am. And so Hany Rambod responds, absolutely had no idea. It was the first time I heard about it. And so I do believe that Hany Rambod did not know that I coached Ian, that coached him to multiple overall victories, including turning him pro. I thought the same thing when I heard Hany say, does he even know what he's doing? And so clearly it's kind of a cheap shot. It's kind of a joke. But remember, it's YouTube. It's all about causing drama, getting the views, the clicks, and so on. And remember, this is a 2-hour podcast, and they only talked about me for a few minutes, but it literally says Ian Comeback, Samson and Milos, and Greg Doucette. And so he, as in Hany Rambod, knows that my name is meaningful enough that people are going to click on the video to watch what he's saying. And so without question, Hany Rambod knows what he's doing. But he wanted to know from Ian, did he know what he was doing as a coach? Was he a legit coach? Everyone knows I can coach the average person. Almost 1 billion people have watched my video, and I've sold almost 100,000 of my cookbooks. But can I coach the best of bets, the elite? Ian Valere is an elite level bodybuilder. But let's listen to what he says about coaching. Did it work? Was it bad? And what does Hany Rambod really think?
So who were your coaches?
I'll start from the beginning. So
Okay.
after Hassan and Freddie, the local guys, then I worked with Greg Doucette.
Remember, I was an internationally known coach, was coaching a number of athletes, top level performers. And so he felt that hiring me would be able to get him to the next level. And did it? Well, let's see. Did he not turn IFBB pro?
No way.
Yeah, Greg Doucette turned me pro, actually.
Does he have any idea what he's doing?
He responds, does he have any idea what he's doing? With a giggle at the end. And so obviously, if you're a viewer, you're thinking, well, that's not very respectful. He could have said, was he a great coach? How good was his training? How good was his dieting? What about his knowledge on supplementation? But he says, does he know what he's doing? Really? Haha.
I don't even know if I sent him progress pictures ever, but he just we talked often. He, kind of checked in and gave me a plan.
And the diet, well, it was the recipes from my cookbook. Nothing's changed. I had more recipes than last time, but nothing was different back then.
And I did
Okay.
I think I did no cardio when I worked with him.
He talks about the fact that he didn't have to do cardio. And why do you think that was? He was sending me progress photos, not every single week. I didn't need that. But when he did send me photos, he was more shredded than last time. And every week when he sent me a check-in saying, hey, this is how much weight I lost, and I would ask, how do you feel? Is your energy levels high? He always responded with, I feel great. Felt fantastic, and the changes were unreal. And every time I received progress photos, I was mind blown. I couldn't believe the changes I was seeing. And so as a coach, I kept saying, let's keep doing what we're doing. Why try to fix what ain't broke? He won the overall in 3 straight competitions. When I first looked at his photos and I looked at the end result, I thought, oh my goodness, how could a man make this much progress in so little time? But think of it. It's Ian Valliere, elite level genetics, hardest worker in the room. The guy is an animal. And so when Ian said, is it okay if I have a cheat? I'd say, hey, sure, no problem. Have 2 whole bags of popcorn. Literally, that's all he needed. If he ever felt like he was lacking a little bit of energy, I'd look at the progress photos and say, this is not a problem, eat. You sure it's okay to have 2 bags of popcorn extra, not 1? Yep, you can have 2 bags extra popcorn. And so how many calories was he actually eating? A bit under 3,000 calories for the most part. Remember, my diets, they vary in calories. You have several meal options. You could, for example, be having lasagna. You could be having a risotto. You could be having a wrap. You could be having a pizza. It depends on what you're in the mood for, and the calories do vary. Of course, there's chicken, broccoli, and rice. You can still eat these things, but you don't have to. The options are there. The diet's realistic, reasonable, tastes amazing. Easiest diet to follow in the world. I challenge any of you to find a diet that's easier. And so how good are these diets? Well, it doesn't have to just be bodybuilders. Why not expand everyone? Everyone can eat like Ian Valliere. Everyone can eat like Coach Greg. You get the cookbook, you follow the diet, you follow the meal plans. It's really all that simple. And you don't even have to eat every single meal from this book. The meals were made with about 50% of the calories of the real actual thing with about 80% of the taste. And so you can have your cake literally and eat it too.
He worked in kind of like a if it fits your macro style, but not really. Like it was very like.
And so it's true. It's kind of an if it fits your macro style, as in I didn't care what he was getting his food from, as long as it was from the foods from the cookbook, as long as it was from those healthy meal options, didn't matter. You wanted chicken versus steak versus salmon versus tilapia versus whatever. As long as you're getting your protein in, long as you're getting in your vegetables, your fruits and so on, long as you're getting in your healthy fats, we're good. The choices, well, that's up to you. I don't care. What diet do you want to follow?
You know, I was eating like P28 pizzas and protein popcorn and
There you go.
like all that kind of stuff.
Protein, popcorn, P28 pizzas, peanut butter and banana sandwiches on protein bread, so on. It all worked. He looked absolutely phenomenal, incredible, better than I could have expected. Now remember, I'm not trying to take all the credit. I'm not saying, oh, he looked so great because of me. Obviously I helped. But it's because of him. He's the one with the genetics. He's the one eating in a calorie deficit. He's the one putting in the work.
He was having you do that while you were getting ready for the show?
Yeah, and I got peeled, man. Like I was actually outrageously peeled.
And so Hany Rambod's thinking, I don't get it. But yet, what does the evidence show? Ian Valliere literally saying the leanest I've ever been in my life. He's hired more famous, perhaps better coaches to be following this. But where was he at his leanest? Where did he look at his prime? Where did he in fact turn pro? From little old Coach Greg, the OG of coaching.
It was probably one of my best conditions of my entire career.
I remember the check-ins, I'm telling you, at 4 weeks out, and he's sending me these photos, and I'm literally screenshotting it and sending my friends, check out this guy I'm coaching. He's going to get a pro card sooner than last time. He looks phenomenal. Look at the details. The etching in the glutes already. Still got 4 weeks to go.
I was eating these things, but my total calories were probably like 1,800 calories a day.
And so Ian saying it was 1,800 calories a day. Trust me, I remember this. I actually just went to go look, but I was actually hacked years ago. They wanted me to send them 1 Bitcoin to get all of my data. Remember, I had it plugged in. And so I was scammed harder than last time. I lost all my coaching plans from back then. And so I was going to go and read out the exact calorie requirements, what he was eating on his diet, but I don't have the files anymore. But I can promise you it wasn't 1,800 calories a day. As you know, that's how many calories Chris Bumstead was eating at one point during his contest prep, but Ian Valliere was eating well over 2,000 calories a day.
It's a crazy system, that I look back on, I laugh at it, but I got nothing but bad things to say in terms of that. It definitely worked.
He was outrageously peeled. And if you've seen other athletes that I've coached, for example, Joe Elves, did you see Joe Elves when he turned pro, winning the overall in classic physique? The guy had crazy conditioning. And so back in the day, what I was known for was getting guys into peeled contest shape, whether it was girls in bikini, figure, physique, all categories. If you were not shredded, you knew you hire Coach Craig. Coach Craig will get you shredded. That is what I do best. And so is it shocking to see that I have a YouTube channel dedicated to helping the people get lean? Notice I don't have a lot of bulking videos. I'm not famous for getting people fat in the off season. I'm famous for helping people cut down and stay lean year round. Proof's in the pudding. I'm 48, taking these supplements, and how am I doing? And if you don't believe me, I dare you to try it. Ask people who have tried it, legit bought these. Does it work? And remember, I've warned people. If you take TURK Builder, be careful. Don't take it in the evening. It might disrupt your sleep. It gives you a lot of energy. Makes you harder, more vascular than last time, more energy. You can put on more muscle than ever before. Now, I'm not saying it's better than steroids. Clearly, it's not going to put on more muscle than Test and Tren, but it is natural, and you will, in fact, pass the WADA test.
First show I did with him in 2013, was probably one of my best conditions of my entire career.
Why would Ian lie? Do you really think that Ian is going on the Hany Rambod podcast and that I somehow paid him to say this? He was coached by me, he reflects back, and it worked. He was insanely shredded. It worked.
Should be getting a coupon code for Greg Doucette here because he's going to turn around and use this.
Hany Rambod is a coach. He recognizes good coaching. He's hearing what Ian's saying. He's not bullshitting about this. He hears him saying he's the most shredded he's ever been, that he looked incredible. And so Hany's got no choice but to say, well, clearly the guy knows what he's doing.
First show I did with him in 2013, was probably one of my best conditions of my entire career.
And this is from Ian Harmy in an off-season shape. The best condition he's ever had in his entire career. Best conditioning ever. Why do you think people hire me? Why do you think to this day people still want to hire me? But oh, the Tren twins, we can't handle Coach Greg's diet. He gave us the cookbook. Oh, it didn't work. Tren twins, you still got the book. Why not use some of the recipes? And so when the Tren twins would send me progress photos, and I would take a photo of myself and say, hey, I'm 48 years old. Perhaps you should look as good as me at this point. You should be dieting. We're going to turn pro. We want to be the youngest pros ever. And I would literally send them a photo of Ian Valère and say, do you see this guy? He was about your age, was coaching him for his very first competition. This is him at 4 weeks out. What do you think? Oh my goodness, are you serious? That muscle, that shredded? Yeah, he's about 5'9", 220 plus pounds shredded. You really think that you're at that level? And so they knew they had their work cut out for them, and what happened? They didn't compete. Perhaps that was a smart, intelligent move. Remember, there was a lot more to than that. They were getting fake gear, not from me, from someone else. Of course, I have nothing to do with that. And so at this point, clearly what they're taking is working. And they have a different coach. But do you really think that if they were following this diet, that it wouldn't work? That if they were eating the same way as Ian Valère did, that it wouldn't allow them to get shredded? Of course it would.
My level of detail and conditioning from my back shots was probably the best I ever achieved ever.
The best I've ever achieved ever. And so do you really think if Ian had continued to work with me that he wouldn't have continued as an IPB pro being the most shredded guy in professional bodybuilding competitions? Of course he would. But remember, he wanted to work with IB pros that had coached other IB pros at the Olympia stage. I had no experience with guys at the Olympia level, and so he wanted to move on. Nothing wrong with that. He wanted to learn from other athletes.
As then I, progressed and got to the pro level, I wanted a coach that had worked with pros and got, guys at that next level.
He had already learned from me in 3 competitions, absorbed like a sponge all the information I provided. And so why not move on? And perhaps that led to being a better coach. He took some of the information from me, some from other athletes, some from other coaches, and that allowed Ian to be the coach that he is today. And remember, Ian coached Chris Bumstead to how many Mr. Olympia Championship titles? And so Ian clearly an expert coach at any level. There you have it. Were there any doubts? Did you really think I wasn't a good coach? Did you really think that Hany Rambod was somehow going to diminish my abilities as a coach? Of course you knew better. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm, like one of the videos. If you want free diet and training program, head over to my website. I've got something that's close to 50 pages at various calorie levels for anyone. Doesn't matter if you're a massive man or smaller female, we have a coaching plan for you. Also join the 300,000 plus newsletter subscribers. Don't forget about the cookbook, the Circle Diet book, all kinds of books, the clothing line. Get over to the website, code Greg 15% off. And until next time, I am out.